So I get to talk about how you ride and when you fall. So we are in Santo Tomas, Baja. It's kind of a wine region here. And we just came down the highway there, headed south. That's the highway there, but we're actually going to take this dirt road to the coast and then down into Cauticals. Down here in Baja, people think, the biggest danger is going to be the drug cartels or something. And the reality is, for people like us, the biggest danger is just this right here, these roads. Coming around a corner, hitting a car, truck, or actually some kind of animal, like a burro, mule, horse, cow, something like that happens, unfortunately, all too often. So that's just, one of the hazards down here. But, clearly these roads are in decent shape. I mean, this is, these are very big bike friendly. And there's a lot of them, and I think that's because, everyone down here uses these roads. That's a cool little ranch. It's called El Chocolate. Little winery there. Yeah, everybody uses these roads to get around to and from the town, market, school, all that. So, I mean, they're in pretty good shape. And there's just, thousands and thousands of these, of miles of these types of roads. Even just here in Baja Norte, I mean, I left my house at 6:30 this morning, had a leisurely lunch in Ensenada, and, it's not even, I'm not sure what time it is, it's about 1 o'clock, and we still got a lot of riding to do for the day. So, I mean, Baja Norte is a great place to ride. It's really a well-kept secret. I kind of don't like talking about it. A lot of guys don't, because, you start telling people about what's down here, and then all of a sudden everyone wants to come down, and then it's crowded, and then the rates go up on the hotels. But it's pretty nice. And I think, because these roads aren't traveled as much, I think that's why they're in better shape. Some of the roads we ride up in southern Cal, up in the Cleveland National Forest, Los Padres National Forest, what's the other one? Angeles Crest, Angeles National Forest. They're really rutted, washboarded, eroded out because of all that traffic. And down here it's just, pristine. There's just not as many people down here. So here you go. You got, perfect, grade 1 big bike friendly trails here. People also think that if you ride down to Baja, you must be, some kind of expert rider or something, because you're doing, whoops and sand dunes and sand washes and all that. And obviously they have that, but 90% of the roads down here that you're going to go on a big bike anywhere are just like this. Why do big bike riders stand on the pegs so much? It's a great question. It's something we oftentimes get made fun of for, usually when we're standing on the pegs and we don't really need to. But I stand on the pegs most of the time for a couple reasons. One is these bigger bikes require just more input. They're bigger, and when you're on the pegs, you're better able to shift your body weight to, counterweight on your turns. Weighting the outside peg, leaning forward, leaning back on an XL and decel, or uphill or downhill. So just for control, it's easier to control your bike when you're on the pegs. Also put your center of gravity lower. Your weight, instead of resting on the seat, is now resting on the pegs, and that aids in control and stability. So another reason is just like your legs are natural shock absorbers, and you're going to hit these obstacles, and if you hit them seated, they could launch your butt right up in the air, and you could lose control of your bike. They could compress your spine. you know, give you a you know, what do you call it, like a bulging disc or ruptured disc or whatever. You don't want that. Another reason is visibility. I mean, when you're standing up, obviously you can see farther, and you can see in more detail the relief of the road coming up, and it gives you a little bit more time to pick a good line and align your body, you know, where it needs to be based on whatever obstacles coming up. Here we got some motion here. Nice. Then, you know, another reason is, you know, it can be hot. Like, it's what, 90, cooled off, it's like 93, I think, or no, it's actually 97. Still, that's pretty hot. So yeah, you stand up, you get more airflow, and it cools you off better than if you're seated, you know, behind the fairing. So, you know, standing up. Oh, I found another, I realized another one. I stand a lot, like when I'm on the road, on the seat a long time, like on the highway, and I come to a town where the speed limit gets lower, like 45 or something. I'll usually stand on the pegs because it gives me a chance not only to cool off, but to rest my butt, you know, get some blood flow back in my butt. You know, I'd also like to, you know, blog about stuff while I'm doing it, and I'll talk about, you know, counterweighting I just talked about earlier. You're weighting that outside peg in the turn, it gives you more traction. So you can see as I'm doing, I'm going to weight the left peg. So all my weight's on that left peg. I'm just barely touching the right peg. And likewise, I turn left here, weight's on the right peg. And I shift that weight, weight's on left peg. And what that's doing is it's sort of pressing your bike straight down over the contact patch, giving you better traction. It's not like the street where you have 100% traction off-road. You know, it might be 30-40% traction. So you need to make sure you have all your weight on top of that contact patch, and that's what that counter weighting does, weighting that outside peg like that. A lot of times we do it seated. You do the same as you're seated. What I like to do is while so I'll be turning right up here, what I like to do is slide my knee down in that little pocket in the gas tank, and I'll lean on the left side of the seat like that. Sometimes I'll put my right foot out, likewise put my right knee into the tank, hang that left foot off the side. Yeah, I notice as I was talking about the cornering back there, I can kind of feel the feedback, you know, in my tires and mostly my front tire, and what I'm feeling is it's, you know, it's a little skittish, you know, it wants to wash out a little bit, and the reason why is I have not aired down to a lower pressure, and that's important when you're off-road, to air down, especially if you're a beginner, because you really need kind of all the traction you can get. And you know, I typically run like close to 40 in the tires on the pavement, but when I get off-road, I typically go down to 30, and I don't like to go down below that because you still need, you know, enough air pressure in your tire to protect your rim. You know, a good test is if you have enough air or not enough in your front tire is when you go down a road like this and you actually hit a rock, you know, you feel a really hard thud, you know, into your wrists and in your arms. Chances are that impact went into the tire and then touched the rim, which is not good. You know, you may get a pinch flat, or at the very least you're going to damage your rim, get them all dinged up. When you do have enough air though and you hit a rock, it kind of feels like like you just bounced a basketball or something, because you can kind of feel it bounce back the tire, and you're like, oh yeah, that feels good, I definitely have enough air. So it's kind of, you know, a feel. Obviously 40 is probably too much, and 20 is not enough. That's why I like 30. Prism, ready to go. Okay. Here we are at Cow to Cows. In the early morning. Getting ready to go. Eric's got his bike on. Warming up. Chickens laying eggs. All fueled up. Nice ocean view. Looks like we're ready to go. I always think this is funny going by here, this cliff, like a 40-foot cliff. There's no railing, no guardrail, nothing, no sign. It's it's Mexico, you know. You gotta look out where you're going. I could see this thing collapsing the next winter storm. It's getting pretty close there. Isn't that pretty? It looks like cabbage. It's very pretty. This is like the scene from Indiana Jones, where they go with the Nazis on that island. They go up into this rocky outcrop. That's where they set up the ark. Check it out. Oh, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. Wah, wah. Wah. This is kind of cool, huh? Okay, video blog topic. Suspension and proper speed for a big bike. So most of these big bikes come from the factory with inadequate suspension, and they tend to bottom out quite a bit. And if you're bottoming out on your bike, there's really two reasons for it. The most common reason is you're simply just riding it outside of the design spec, and that's something that took me a long time to figure out. You know, Jimmy Lewis kept telling me this, and I kept not hearing it. But these are bigger bikes, they're heavier, and they don't perform, you know, like a 250-pound dirt bike with 21/18 wheels and, you know, a whole bunch of suspension travel. You know, these are close to 600 pounds. Many of them come with 19-inch front, 17-inch rear, and you got 7-8 inches of travel. So you got a lot less to work with. So, you know, you can't run down these roads like super fast and expect your bike to hold it all together. You're going to have to ride at a sensible speed, you know, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people, you know, like the bigger bikes because they require, you know, more finesse. So, you know, that first factor is simply riding outside the design specs. You know, another one is, whoop, little dab there. That's a point off. GS trophy. That's a nice little technical here. Whoop, 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 whoop. So yeah, that first point was just riding outside the design spec. But, you know, the second point, which is also true, is that the factory suspension on these bikes is just inadequate, you know. You know, for the kind of riding that we like to do, that I like to do, which I prefer to call adventure enduro riding, more than just simple adventure touring. And so basically what I'm saying is, if you're going to do this type of adventure enduro travel, like in Baja or wherever, Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, or Bolivia for that matter, you're going to need aftermarket shocks. And, you know, I like to sing the praises of TFX shocks because that's what I have, and they are awesome. You know, they're really made with great quality components, springs, valves, etc. They're very, very well made. But the truth is, you're going to get some pretty good results above factory with any aftermarket shock. And I'd recommend, obviously, you go with, you know, this is my second set of aftermarket shocks, and obviously I would have rather just done it right the first time. So there's some wise advice there, but yeah, you know, if you're bottoming out, you're like I said, you're riding outside the design spec, but you're also, you don't have adequate suspension. And I got to tell you, since I got these TFX shocks, I haven't bottomed out a single time, which I think is remarkable. That's saying a lot for, you know, the quality and the robustness of that shock. So that's really what you're going to want to look for in aftermarket suspension for your big bike, is something that will allow you to control the bike with confidence off-road, and that means of course more safety. You know, if you could ride in more control, you can ride safer. Okay, third point is choice of skid plate. You're going to have a good bash plate. The factory one is just not adequate. It's attached to the bottom of the engine case, which is asking for trouble. You know, the first time you hit it really good, boom, you punch through your engine case, and that's game over. So what you want to look for is a good skid plate that preferably attaches to the frame. And if it does attach to the engine, it's only typically in the front, and it has a lot of padding in there, so that force is distributed across, you know, I don't know, 16 to 20 square inches of good thick foam padding. And then in the back it's attached to the frame. I have a Black Dog plate, and I have the 2011 GSA, and I can, you know, tell you that's the best plate out there for this bike. Alt-Rider makes some great plates too, especially for the new liquid cooled. You know, they look good, they attach really well, and a lot of people like those. Obviously Black Dog's still making great plates. Those are kind of the two that I would recommend. I'm sure there's some others that are pretty decent, but those are the ones I've seen and used the most, the ones I like. It's about time I let Eric get up front here so I can get some video of him at least. And he wants to go fast, so I have to keep up with him here. The other way that I'd been coming was across this old part of the 500 course, and it's just really nasty. It's all hard whoops, you know, and these whoops are like coffin sized. So you have to go really slow, like literally first gear, down and then up and down and up and down and up and down and up. It's really a nasty, tricky, technical section, and it's not the kind of like section that's technical and fun like what we did before a little earlier. It's like not fun. So I'm really glad we found this road here. It's just you know, still got some fun to it, but it's not horrible like that other one. More of that XR 650. You know, I don't know if that's an XR or a XL. Really popular bike for Baja though, you know. Good mileage, big tank, 21 18-inch wheels. You know, you could put quite a bit of stuff. He's got the Giant Loop great basin bag on the back. He's got Rotopacks and tools and all that, so that's an ideal bike for Baja. Yeah, so check out that dust devil. It's way up in the sky. It's really big, and down there it's like tearing it up. It's like a little mini tornado there. That's a pretty big dust devil. Yeah, man, it's Baja. So my friend Eric here apparently ran out of gas. What'd you say? The range wasn't not. Yeah. So we're just shy of the turnoff to Bahia de Los Angeles. So you may be asking yourself, why am I putting this Giant Loop Great Basin bag on the bike? on top of my other panniers, it's because Eric's bike won't start. So I'm gonna ride him on here pillion up to BDLA, and then we're gonna call roadside assistance and get it figured out. So not sure what it is. We thought it ran out of gas, but we put gas in it, and there's a little bit of smoke out the tailpipe, and it won't turn over, and the oil's super low even though he filled it up. So I think it's some sort of oil compression issue. I have no idea. So we're gonna figure it out, and it's all part of the adventure, right? So I'm solo now. So I'm headed back north. I'm on this road that goes past Coco's Corner, and this road is just nasty. I don't know if the camera really shows it, you know, like my eye can see it. It usually doesn't, but it's just really rough, rocky, and you really gotta watch your speed and your line through here. So a lot of people get pinch flats on this road. I've seen it happen, you know, personally twice, and heard about it. You know, Tolga had a problem here too a couple months ago, and it kind of explains at the end of the road back there where it hits the highway, there's a tire store, tire shop there. Coco is kind of a Baja legend. He's got this little place called Coco's Corner. He sells sodas, water, snacks, beers, whatever. And he's just a nice old guy. He's really social. He likes to talk. But he wants to know where you're from. He's got a little guest book you can sign. And he wants to know like what town you were born in and where you live and all that. He's also a bit of an artist, and what he likes to do is he'll do a little sketch in his guest book that reminds him later of who you were. Maybe it was a story you told about your dog or what, I don't know. And he'll draw a picture of a dog. But he's just kind of a character, you know. And it's fun to go stop and talk to him and see what he's up to. He's actually missing both his legs below the knee. I think one was from a car accident, and the other was from diabetes, just bad blood circulation. So he gets around on an ATV, and he's got a wheelchair, and sometimes he'll just put the knee pads on and walk around like that. He gets around all right though, but I'm not sure how old he is. I think he's in his 70s. But people, you know, look out for him. They care about him. He's really kind of a nice old guy. So if you're ever down here, definitely stop in and see him. Obviously, before it's his time. I guess Coco's not there. Gate's closed. Nice little jump. Okay, we are off to Gonzaga Bay next. I've done this road many times before. That's why I'm kind of going a little faster clip. You know, I'm familiar with it. I gotta tell you though, these TFX shocks are just amazing. I can really tell the difference. They're just so much smoother and more planted and confident going over this type of terrain. They're just awesome. So this is my 10th time down riding in Baja on the bike. I think it marks my 23rd trip to Mexico overall. But I am by no means an expert on Baja. Kind of just a novice still. Tell you what you should do though, is look up some of these Baja experts. I know of a couple. I'll try to put them up here on the screen later. I know of one lizard lady. She's got a book and some GPS tracks, and she really knows her way around here. There's another guy does these tours called Grip Twister, and I'm not sure if he leads the tours as well, but I know you can buy like a book and his GPS tracks, and they're really good. That's actually the first trip I took down here, was one of his tours, and he had it really nice. He had like 2 different tracks, one for small bikes and one for big bikes, which I appreciated, you know, being a kind of a noob back then. So check him out at Grip Twister. And then there's a third, I'll just leave a placeholder for now, that Rick was telling me about, and I'm gonna look that up when I get back. But those are really the experts on Baja, and if you want to come ride down here, it'd be a good idea to check those out. You can learn a lot of cool things, find a lot of cool places to go, get a lot of good local knowledge. So here we are, San Felipe at El Juero, and gonna get some nice breakfast here, hopefully some shrimp. Hola. Buenas tardes. This one? Okay. Thanks. You gotta also watch these topes here, little circles or hemispheres. They'll really mess up your tire big time. You're on camera, wave. Thank you for the tri-tip. It was wonderful. Great way to finish a trip. Good night.